Back in March, it allegedly ended for SIG. Based on some recent news, I think it's actually going to end for SIG. Stick around, guys. We got a story to tell. That and more. Welcome back, guys. Chris Bartigone, ZP002 here from ZERT, and what an interesting week and a half it has been. We're going to start with the furthest and then move towards the big story for today, which involves our favorite, your favorite, mine, SIG Sauer. About a week and a half ago, the Tim Kennedy train kind of came to the station with him putting out a statement, which you've probably all read it, so I'm not putting out anything new, but I did want to chime in about it since we did do a show about Tim Kennedy's 50 Shades of Grenades. He's finally come out and made a statement, and there is a couple of words or a couple of pieces in that statement that ring the bell for me as bullshit, right? The unintentionally or intentionally may have made these statements, and then he wrote this book. He's talking about in his bullshit apology, he's talking about earlier on in his career, he didn't understand and what it meant to be in the spotlight. And it's like, dude, you wrote this book recently. You made these statements recently. Your statement reads like a mixture between a chat GPT and an attorney putting it together and coming up with bullshit. Bottom line is you're done in this industry and you deserve it. You have made dumb statements throughout your career, going back to the 2017 interview with Lance Armstrong, which you talked about how gun control is a major need, and then you backpedaled, Tim Kennedy is a perfect example of a politician saying one thing, years later saying something else. He was on the Sean Ryan podcast, and he said the complete opposite of gun control being needed. So I hope that the dude just disappears. Like I said from the beginning, I've got the guy's phone number in my phone, right? I mean, that's the connection that I had with him. We were going to work with him, and I had one meeting with him and his business manager, Mike, at the time, and I just realized that he was just a moron, a buffoon. And I've said it from the beginning, and I'll say it till the end, and it is what it is. So may Tim Kennedy have the day that he deserves. I know that just this past week, they made their statement, Big Army made their statement, and they are not really going to push the matter much further, but he does belong to a guard unit, and we'll see if there is anything that happens there. The Special Forces community, the Green Berets out there, they have their own thoughts on what should happen to him as far as his tab and his beret being pulled. Whether that happens, who knows? I would like him to be humbled. Hopefully that happens one day, but we'll see, guys. All right. Before we continue on, I do want to just give a minute to our sponsor. And so please do me a favor. And once you're done, maybe head over, check those guys out, and we'll get back to this in just a second. In critical moments, your training and gear is your lifeline. MedTech International helps prepare everyone to act fast when lives depend on it. Founded by emergency physicians and SWAT medics, MedTech offers real-world courses in tactical medicine, PCCC, and TECC, plus field-tested and trusted medical gear for rapid response. Whether you're looking for new medical gear, replacement products, or even ballistic gear, MedTech has something for you. Train smart, be ready. Visit tacticalmedicine.com to enroll or gear up today. And remember, ZERT members get a discount. All right, guys. So the big news, and this actually just started coming to light over the last 24 hours, and 48 hours from the time this video goes up. But allegedly, it might actually end for SIG today. And while I say that somewhat disappointed, I'm also kind of glad. I do not think they can skirt around this one. Phil Strader, if you somehow end up watching this show, I asked you, or we asked you to come on this show and on our podcast and have a further conversation, especially after that softball one you had with Tim from Military Arms Channel, and you never responded to that. We'll see what you have to say now, because I think this one's a little bit harder for you to kind of skirt around here, right? So if you guys are unaware, just a few days ago in July, I believe it was July 20th, a SIG Sauer M18, which is the military version of the SIG P320, was the subject of an uncommanded discharge by an Air Force Security Forces airman who at the Warren Air Force Base. The incidence of the situation, from what I've found, is that he removed his duty holster. So he was on duty when this incident happened. He removed his duty holster. So it's a Safariland QLS retention holster. So a Safariland retention holster in a QLS system. So basically that is a receiver and a fork type system where you just slide it into the receiver, and the fork system is attached to the back of the holster. He removed the full system, so the firearm in the holster with the little fork, placed it on a table in front of him where it went off without being touched, shooting him in the chest and fatally wounding him. Now, was I there? No. Is there video? Not that I have seen. Were there witnesses? Allegedly. All right? I just want to be clear about all of those things. So make sure that you guys write that down. My first question right off the bat when I did talk about this with Jamie is, why was the firearm in the holster pointed at him? I get it. So some of you out there are going to make comments about that. It is a safe, obviously, if it's in a holster, it's safe, allegedly. You're not supposed to go off. You're not supposed to be able to hit the trigger. But I can tell you that anytime I remove my holster from my person, my body, and I place it down, I do not point it at myself or anybody else, even though it is in a holster. So, but whatever. It shouldn't have gone off. And what I find interesting is, you read a little bit more about the article and the guy. So this is the team, I guess, that secures nuclear weapons facilities. My other question was well, why doesn't he have body armor on? Maybe he took the body armor off first. But bottom line is that is what happened in the incident. Now, since that incident has happened, that unit of the Air Force has suspended all use of the SIG M18s, and instead they have replaced them with M4s. And that is until further notice, and it probably will be a final decision, which leads me to a lot of next questions, right? Like, what does that actually mean for SIG? If they lose that contract, that is going to be very, very telling for SIG. I said it from the beginning. I'll say it till the end. No one wanted SIG to come out of this. Well, there are probably a lot more people but me. But for this reference, no one wanted SIG to come out of this on the better side than me. I liked the product. I liked the brand. I do like their 365X macro. I do like their regulator. But at the end of the day, the amount of stuff piling up against SIG is just, it cannot be ignored. So what else I found interesting about this situation is that this is not the first incident of an uncommanded discharge with an M17 or an M18 pistol. There was another one in 2023, a Marine Corps issued M18 discharge while holstered in Japan. And that prompted an investigation, and they recommended an engineering review of the pistol. Now, I don't know if that information has ever been put out there. I'm not sure. But the articles that I've read regarding this incident reference that the FBI has also been involved in reviewing the safety of this pistol. Now, there are police departments, government agencies, and whatnot that have adopted the SIG Sauer as their duty pistol. And I find it also interesting that SIG has pushed back even against the FBI. And that's on the heels of their asking for and gaining immunity in the state of New Hampshire a month and a half ago. I don't know. I would love to hear what you guys think about this. I made my statement very, very clear and very final a while back. But for whatever reason, SIG continues to pop up in my feed, and it continues to be a source of content when it comes to important information that needs to get out there on this channel to you guys. I will still shoot my my macro. I don't think I will carry my macro. I have gone back to my Glock, my 48. If you guys saw my 2025 EDC video, I've gone back to my Glock and currently am carrying the Ruger RXM as a full-size pistol, as we are still testing and reviewing that. So far, everything looks awesome with that pistol. And then the Glock 19, you know, is just obviously still top-notch. I'm still a fan of the M&Ps, but for me, my time with SIG ended as far as carrying that pistol, the P320. I'll never, ever carry that pistol ever again. Will I? And my last statement was that I would probably still take it to the range and use it in an OWB type scenario, but I think I'm all set with that as well. I think those SIGs will likely never be touched again, which is unfortunate because that's 3 SIG P320s that I own that are as good as paperweights at this point. And I'll never sell them because I just don't like the idea of somebody else buying it and then becoming an incident for them. So folks, do me a favor, like, subscribe, and sound off in the comments on this video. I would love to hear what you guys think about this current situation. Does it finally end for SIG, or do we just wait another couple of weeks till another incident happens? All right, guys, until next time, you stay safe, stay prepared. ZP002 out.